Building a new life is literally what these refugees from Togo are trying to do. But the thousands who have arrived here in Ghana are luckier than many of Africa's refugees. Rather than finding themselves in camps and makeshift shelters, segregated from the rest of the local population, the people who arrived here have been given land by the local community to build homes and plant crops. The United Nations Refugees Organization, charities and the Ghanaian government have provided building materials and food to help the new arrivals settle in. Asoba Kujo arrived in Ghana in April, just after the Togolese presidential elections. He fled here with his family and most of the people from his village.
A former minister of the regime RPT came down and questioned us, why are we standing or are we in lines to go and vote? We said, today we have the authority to go and vote, because he said, okay, in which party do we belong to? And I answered that he need not to know my party that I'm going to vote for. So that day, he called me upon and slapped me. That day, when he slapped me, he told his bodyguard to arrest me.
So far, nearly 15,000 Togolese refugees have been registered in Ghana. Most have settled in the Volta province on the border with Togo. Like Asoba, they are supporters of Togo's political opposition party, the Union of Forces for Change, who on April 24th lost the presidential election to Faure Gnassingbé, the son of the late Gnassingbé Eyadema. After the results were announced, protests and violence broke out in the capital Lomé and around many of the polling stations across the country. In the week after the elections, over 100 people were killed in Lomé alone. 2 months later, those who escaped must now try to make a new life for themselves. But their traumatic experiences at home are a stark contrast to what they've found in Ghana, where local families have invited them into their homes and have, to all intents and purposes, adopted them. The 20th of June marked World Refugee Day. According to the United Nations, there are over 4 million refugees and displaced people on the African continent. Like these Togolese refugees, many are political asylum seekers and are escaping persecution and sometimes full-scale war.
The number of people coming into a country will certainly have some impact on the resources of the country. As I've already said, it's having an impact on our shelter facilities. Some of the villages are very poor. They don't have much room, so they have to be provision for additional rooms for the refugees. They have very few toilets in some of the villages. We have to build more because they are putting pressure on these facilities. The water sources of some of the villages are so small. So this has to be increased.
Asoba and his wife have decided that until there is a government change in Togo, they will not be going home. Asoba used to be a teacher, but now he makes his money from tilling fields. His income is used to buy food, so he and his family can give something back to his Ghanaian hosts. Asoba's also done a deal with his new employer, who is the village school's headmaster. Every afternoon, Asoba will use the school classroom to teach all the refugee children.
The people are very good towards us, and they also receive us, I say they receive us warmly, so we all chat as brothers and sisters. So there's no harm between them and us.
Since somebody, fleeing his home country to fleeing his home country to come to your country, you need to help the best that you can. As they have come right now, we have to sacrifice. So I advise that those countries that are having similar situations should sacrifice and then to help the refugees.
Ghanaians really love people. They are people you can really depend on.
Je vais rester ici
I'm staying here until there's peace in Togo. If there's no peace in Togo, then I'll die here with my family.
Comparing the instability in Togo with the warm hospitality of Ghana, it's unsurprising that many refugees don't see themselves leaving here anytime soon. As Asorba gets to know his adoptive family, his memories of the rift between Togolese people can at least be consoled by the fact that relations with Ghanaians are getting stronger every day.